Could everyone please be seated? Thank you. I acknowledge with respect the Onondaga Nation, firekeepers of the Haudenosaunee, the indigenous people on whose ancestral land Syracuse University now stands. Welcome students, parents, family, and friends. I want to thank especially our faculty and staff. Could they stand so that we could all thank them? I should also say, we'd like to thank the parents. They can all stand up and give themselves a round of applause. And family. So each year we have a convocation speaker. Normally we have an architect. Today we have someone more important than the architect, and that is the client. Without a client, we have no architect. Without an architect, we have no architecture school. Without an architecture school, there's no point of being here. We're very happy today. We have a friend of the school and one of the great members of our university. Our speaker today is Dr. Mike Haynie. Dr. Haynie is the University Vice Chancellor for Strategic Initiatives and Innovation, and he's also the Barnes Professor of Entrepreneurship. Dr. Haynie is also the founder and executive director of Syracuse University's Institute for Veterans and Military Families, the IVMF, the nation's first interdisciplinary institute created to inform and advance the policy, economic, and wellness concerns of Americans' veterans and families. Today, IVMF programs serve over 25,000 veterans annually, and the Institute is widely acknowledged as the nation's leading academic voice related to issues impacting veterans and military-connected families. In 2018, Syracuse University named Dr. Haynie a university professor, the most senior rank awarded to the faculty at the university. In 2013, Dr. Haynie was appointed by the Obama administration to serve as chairman of the U.S. Department of Labor's Federal Advisory Committee on Veterans Employment and Training. In 2015, the White House asked Dr. Haynie to serve again, this time as the vice chairman of the newly created presidential task force chartered to set the course for long-term reform at the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Dr. Haynie completed his Ph.D. in Entrepreneurship and Business Strategy at the University of Colorado at Boulder and his MBA at the University of Oregon. Before beginning his academic career at Syracuse University, he served for 14 years as an officer in the United States Air Force. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mike Haynie.
So I'd like to begin by saying thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to address you today on this day, a day that marks a truly remarkable milestone in your life's journey. I am honored and humbled by the invitation. Now, that said, I have to admit I was a bit surprised when my friend Dean Michael Speaks offered me the opportunity to speak today. I say that to right out front call out the elephant in the room. I am not an architect. In fact, my own architectural shortcomings were first on display to the world very early in life. One of my most memorable childhood adventures came at the age of 10 when I ended up in the emergency room with a concussion after a fort I tried to build in my backyard out of old lumber I found in the garage collapsed on top of me and knocked me out cold. I share that to level set expectations. When I pressed Dean Speaks as to why he wanted me to address you today, he said quite matter-of-factly, "You've been leading an effort to build a new campus facility for the past 3 years. I certainly hope you've learned something." And then he turned around and he walked away, and that was it. Some of you may have experienced a moment like that with Dean Speaks in your own life. And it is true, for the better part of the past 3 years, I have been deeply engaged in a truly exciting project here at Syracuse University. That is the design and the construction of Syracuse University's National Veterans Resource Center. That experience has been both amazing and also at times overwhelming. We held an international design competition for the project. We brought in the director of the Pritzker Prize, the editor of Architectural Record, some of our most accomplished architecture school alums, folks like Steve Einhorn, and also current Syracuse University architecture students to lead that selection process. The firms that competed were some of the most accomplished in the world. In fact, at the time our design competition was underway, the competition for the commission to build the Obama Presidential Library in Chicago was also in process. The 3 firms that Syracuse University selected as finalists to design the National Veterans Resource Center were also among the 5 finalists competing for the Obama Presidential Library. All of this is to say that it is true, before this experience, the sum total of my architectural knowledge was limited to my backyard fort building adventures. Consequently, what I've learned about architecture and architects as a result of the NVRC project has been significant, to say the least. In that regard, and in a way I did not anticipate, Michael's speaking invitation has been a gift to me of sorts. I say that because I'm not someone who tends to engage in a lot of self-reflection. I'm not necessarily proud of that fact, but if I'm being entirely honest, I think those who know me would attest to the fact that I'm someone who's naturally wired to focus, sometimes to a fault, on what's ahead, as opposed to what might be depicted in my own rearview mirror. However, reflecting on all that I have learned, all those I have engaged with, and all those who will benefit from our efforts to bring life to a vision for the National Veterans Resource Center, that exercise has proven almost therapeutic to me in a way that I didn't necessarily anticipate. And I'd like to explain what I mean by that, and to do so start out by offering an insight that is wholly unoriginal and probably uninspiring. That is, the world is a diverse place. Our communities, however we define them, are composed of individuals who themselves are defined uniquely by divergent and convergent experiences, views, values, and perspectives. As I suggested, this is an insight that, while true and important by itself, is static and without prescriptive consequence for how humans engage the world. However, I'd like to recast this insight in the context of Michael's suggestion that hopefully I learned something as a consequence of my experience on the NVRC project. By doing so, I hope to suggest to all of you a lens through which you can frame how and why your time at Syracuse University, and uniquely your time as students at the School of Architecture, has uniquely positioned you to powerfully impact your communities, your profession, and your world when you leave this place with a degree in hand. This is my hope because I realize only now that the most significant learning for me, working closely with people like you, had nothing to do with what architects taught me about loads or curtain walls or rain screens or footings or trusses or concrete or steel. Instead, what I learned from architects, uniquely and maybe really for the first time, is to appreciate how and why our sameness and our difference must collide in physical spaces and tangible places. I learned from architects about the importance of a space's capacity and willingness to include or not the people who are meant or not to occupy that place. That is to say, I learned from architects how and why the physical spaces we live in, work in, learn in, represent an opportunity to build a community, to shape who we are, who we want to be, and to bridge differences in a way that cultivates knowing. That is to say, I learned from architects that the thoughtful consideration of places and spaces is uniquely positioned to enact the promise and the potential associated with embracing divergent and convergent experiences, views, and values. If you bear with me for a minute, I'd like to illustrate the significance of that learning for me, and more importantly, for the women, the men, the families that the National Veterans Resource Center will impact, by way of a story about two people that I met on an airplane. It was shortly before we announced the design competition for the NBRC. I was flying back from Syracuse, back to Syracuse from a fundraising trip to the West Coast. I boarded the flight, took my seat, and as I was drifting off to sleep, the pilot came over the PA system. I hadn't noticed, but sitting just a few rows in front of me were two young soldiers who had boarded the plane. And over the PA system, the pilot asked the passengers to join him in thanking these two for their service. The passengers on that plane gave them a polite round of applause, and those close enough reached out and gave those two young men a handshake. But during all of this, I happened to notice that the woman who was sitting next to me made quite a show of her support for these two young soldiers, clapping and whistling. And it struck me that maybe this show was more about her than it was about acknowledging these two young men. Now, I am a social scientist by academic training, and at times like this, I've been known to perform, let's say, impromptu social experiments. So while I normally despise talking to anyone on an airplane, I decided I was going to engage this woman in a conversation. I shared with her that I was a military veteran myself, and that today I direct an academic institute at Syracuse University focused on addressing the issues and concerns that impact the nation's veterans and their families. In turn, she enthusiastically shared with me how she always thanks those in uniform for their service and encourages her friends to do the same. We had a pleasant chat, at least until I started to shift the conversation a bit to some of the challenges which today confront some of America's veterans and their family members. For example, I told her how far too many veterans of the post-9/11 generation, especially the youngest, struggle mightily to find a job after they leave the military. I told her that could be because almost 30% of those who have served since 9/11 leave the military with a disability stemming from their service. And on the spot, I could see her growing more and more uncomfortable. And then I hit her with the suicides. I told her that on average, more than 20 veterans take their own lives each day in this country. That's one every 80 minutes. I told her that the truth is, during recent years, many, many more veterans have died by their own hand than have been killed in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. And that's exactly where our conversation ended. She looked at me, she said, "I just can't believe it. None of that can be true. Didn't you see us clap for those soldiers? America supports its veterans." At this point, she pulled out her iPad, put on her headphones, and proceeded to turn her attention to a rerun of Home and Garden TV. I thought that maybe I had gone too far, but at that moment, a young man sitting on the other side of the aisle, who apparently overheard this entire conversation, tapped me on the shoulder. He looked at me square in the eye, stuck out his hand, and simply said, "Thanks." And it turns out his name was Tim, and Tim was a veteran. Tim volunteered and enlisted in the Marine Corps when he was 18. He served 4 years, spent 3 of those 4 years in either Iraq or Afghanistan. He got out of the Marine Corps just 6 months ago, and now 22 years old, and he had a plan. His plan was to go back to college and get a degree. He seemed ashamed to tell me that he only lasted 2 months on campus. Tim said that he just didn't fit in. He had been trying to find a job, but no luck so far, and he's hoping that the doctors at the VA can figure out how to stop the ringing in his ears so he can get more than a few hours of sleep each night. Now, at this point, I had been working on behalf of veterans and their families for almost a decade, so none of what Tim said to me was even remotely surprising. However, what Tim said next hit me like a punch in the gut. As this young Marine's eyes started to tear up, he said, "Mike, worse than all of that, since I've been home, I feel alone, I feel anonymous." Anonymous. I'd ask you to reflect on that for a minute. Now, home among the very people who sent him off to war, he feels anonymous. I looked over at the woman sitting next to me, now lost in her reality television, and the cultural and physical contrast that I experienced at that moment, the distance between these two, was enough to give me goosebumps. On my right was a woman profoundly ignorant of the issues and challenges facing the young man on my left, issues and challenges that, by the way, stem directly from his service on her behalf. Here was a young combat veteran telling me that in the context of all the hardship he has endured and all the hardship he will endure, what weighs on him now most that he's home is that he feels anonymous. It's important that I explain why Tim feels anonymous. Tim feels anonymous because unlike other wars in this country's history, the burden of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan have been shouldered by a tiny minority of Americans, less than 1% of the population. And for that reason, odds are that Tim, or someone like Tim, is not the son, brother, husband, neighbor, classmate, teammate, or even friend to anyone at your work, anyone on any college campus, or anyone in this room. And for that reason, like the lady sitting next to me on the plane, too many of us haven't had the opportunity to know Tim, and through knowing Tim, come to deeply understand the singularly unique and morally burdensome challenges associated with, as an 18-year-old kid, being sent off to find, fight, and kill the enemies of this country. And for that reason, because we don't know Tim, not enough of us are meaningfully invested in Tim's future. And for that reason, Tim feels, and in many ways is, anonymous while among us. So at this point, you're asking, what does this story have to do with architecture? That is a reasonable question, given the event that we're at. And at the time I shared this story with the architects at SHOP, the firm that was awarded the commission to design the National Veterans Resource Center, I wasn't convinced the story had anything at all to do with architecture. Those architects, however, had a very different view. For them, Tim's story would become the foundational narrative that informed and animated the vision for the design of the National Veterans Resource Center. A vision for places and spaces conceived as an opportunity to create community and create collisions between divergent and convergent experiences, values, and lives. A vision for places and spaces where opportunities for those who don't know Tim can navigate to knowing Tim and those like Tim. Because of an architect, this building will tell a story. Because of an architect, it's uniquely Tim's story and uniquely my story, and maybe your mother's story, or maybe your grandfather's story, all because of an architect. Earlier, I shared that I learned from architects the significance of a space's willingness to include or not the people that move through or exist there. This willingness to include, encourage, and engage or not is defined by the architect's vision. What a gift and what a burden. The architect's vision for the NVRC was driven by Tim's story. It was driven by the idea that we must create a space that physically includes and embodies the stories of those who elsewhere on our own campus or in the world may feel, or in fact be, anonymous while among us. The power of architects to do this is substantial. The responsibility is even greater. As architects, you'll have the opportunity to inform and define the cultural and the social experiences of others. As you make these decisions, it's paramount that at the forefront of your mind is empathy and a willingness to understand how others interact with the spaces you're charged with creating. You must be willing to learn and leverage empathy in this regard. You must be willing to think about how a space plays a role in including others, elevating others, or possibly marginalizing others. In any and all of these instances, what's important is to acknowledge that the space that you create will tell that story. As I said, I am not an architect, but the lessons I've learned during this process are ones I offer to all of you as a charge and as a mission. Be relentlessly focused on a space's capacity to be a place where our sameness and our differences naturally collide. Be relentlessly focused on even the smallest details, those nooks and crannies that give spaces and places the power to tell stories and to connect people. It is true that Syracuse University has equipped you with all the technical skill you need to create spaces that will resemble lasting commitments to important things. But more importantly, I know that Syracuse University is also a place that has equipped you with the experiences, the perspectives, and the humanity positioned to empower you with the willingness and capacity to create places and spaces that lift people up and connect the otherwise disconnected. If you do this well, you will earn the honor of telling their stories, important stories like Tim's story, What a burden, but also what a gift. So on behalf of Tim and behalf of all of those people whose stories you will one day tell, I want to say thank you and congratulations.
I'd now like to introduce and call to the podium Graduate Program Chair Brian Lonsway.
Good morning, everyone. It's always very humbling to take this podium and sort of look at all of the fabulous talent that has come out of our program, but especially humbling in light of Mike Haynie's address to us. It's been an incredible pleasure, of course, to work with all of you for the last, well, I've been here a decade, but in the capacity of graduate chair, particularly to work with the cohort, sort of putting another kind of finishing touch on their career, and hopefully over the few years that I've been in this position and these students have been here advancing their studies, really helping form some form of mastery or another as students graduate from our two master's degree programs. And of course, extending my welcomes and congratulations to all of you and understanding this critical agency that we all address in this field. So I'm here to present a handful of really significant awards for students in our two graduate degree programs. We have a Master of Science and a Master of Architecture degree programs. And so I will give a little bit of introduction to the award and ask the students who are the recipients of these awards to please come approach the podium and receive your certificate. So I'll start with the School of Architecture Graduate Assistant Prize. As graduate chair, I oversee and work with the faculty and our administration to manage a program of about 40 or more teaching assistants every year. And these are students who give an incredible contribution to our undergraduate and our graduate curricula, work very closely with faculty, and are taking on leadership roles that are positioning them to continue in those roles, either as academics or as leaders in the field in other ways. And so the School of Architecture Graduate Assistant Prize is based on a high standard of scholarship and outstanding contribution made to this teaching mission of the School of Architecture in the grad program. It's a great responsibility that we take incredibly seriously as part of the delivery of our core mission. This year's Assistantship Award recipient is Philip Claghorn. Philip, will you please come forward? Use the architecture. Congratulations. As I mentioned, we offer two master's level degrees. Our Master of Science and Architecture degree is a degree that brings students who have some prior professional engagement with architecture academically and really seeks to leverage their capacity to conduct research and scholarship in a more advanced way. So we have a Master of Science Graduate Award for significant contributions to our program, and this really recognizes students who have contributed really important service to not only the academic, but also the kind of very complex administrative and let's say philosophical management of the program as well. And so this year's Master of Science recipient is Bingyu Zhang. And Bing Yu is unable to be here today. Most of our graduates from the Master of Science program complete their program in the fall semester, and so she is off doing amazing things with this degree that she received last December. We also have a Master of Architecture award of the same distinction, and again, this is for contributions that exceed assignments, assistantships, curricular contributions, and is really an award for someone who leaves an important mark on the program. And so this year, the Master of Architecture graduate and recipient is Laura Clark. Laura. The American Institute of Architects and the American Architecture Foundation have a scholarship program that awards the AIA Henry Adams Certificate and Medal for highest academic ranking. And this award has been offered since 1914 and is really not only the top ranking graduate student academically, but again is one that is contributing to the program in some important professional ways. These awards, you'll hear my colleague Larry Davis, chair of the undergrad program, describe one for the undergraduate program as well, are for students in NAB-accredited professional degree programs. And so within the Master of Architecture program, the student with the highest academic achievement and recipient of the AA Henry Adams Certificate and Medal is Nusrat Jahan Mim. Nusrat. Yeah, well, come on. Like a number of our graduating graduate students, she's not had enough academia, so she'll be moving on to further studies in just a few months. Also since 1914, Alpha Rho Chi, the National Professional Co-ed Fraternity for Architecture and the Allied Arts, has promoted the profession of architecture by encouraging students to excel. To honor their achievements, the Alpha Rho Chi Medal Program was established in 1931, and the members of Alpha Rho Chi firmly believe that strong leaders are essential to all architecture professions and affiliated professions. The medal, the Alpha Rho Chi Medal, commends students who show true professional merit across all of their work here, service, leadership, as well as academics. It's my sincere privilege to award the Alpha Rho Chi Medal to outstanding graduate student leader, Katie Koba. Katie. Yeah, subverting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. I'd like to now ask Professor Larry Davis, chair of the undergraduate program, to come. And I'd also like to ask, when you receive your award, if you would come up that way.
Thank you. See, I have to get, okay. Well, welcome to the parents and the friends, and congratulations to the students. This is an amazing day, a very lucky day, fortunate day for everybody to be here. A kind of once-in-a-lifetime day. As I was driving in this morning, as I often do on Convocation morning, I see everybody dressed in their regalia, the parents all dressed up, the family. It's amazing. And I realized I get to do this every year. So I just want to say to you all, thank you. It's really amazing. And also just one little word of advice, please stay connected with each other, whether it's to collaborate on a project, whether it's to try and get a job, whether it's to just have a beer. I think it's really important to stay in this network and to continue this beautiful day for the rest of your life. So I just want to give you that little word of advice. I know it's really important to me when I connect with my fellow students, or when I was a student, and I think it's something that lasts your entire life. Anyway, we have a few awards as well. I want them to stand is Carol D. Barrick and Ethan Russell Benoit. If you could please stand. Yeah, I have the rest. I have the certificate. Apologies for that. Thank you. Now, when I call your name for the next set of awards, I would like you to come to the front and accept your award. The next award is the Luther Gifford Prize. Please congratulate Sarah Catherine Bedoy and The AIA Henry Adams Prize is, as Brian mentioned, the medal awarded annually by the American Institute of top-ranking graduate student in each program. The Henry Adams engraved medal for the top-ranked student in the Bachelor of Architecture program goes to Ying Zhou. The Alpha Rho Chi Medal commends those students who show true professional merit beyond the design studio and in their academic career. It is my privilege to award the 2019 Alpha Rho Chi Medal to our outstanding undergraduate student leader, Kai Chia and Mike Liu.
Thank you, Professor Davis. So I have a special award to give today. It's now my great pleasure to present a special Dean Citation for exceptional service to Connie Caldwell, Career Services Director of Syracuse Architecture for more than 20 years until her retirement in fall of 2018. Connie, could you and Paul please come up? Connie served the school for 23 years as Director of Career Services. When she joined the school in 1994, she immediately began creating the signature Comprehensive Career Services program, known nationally and internationally as a model for other schools. During her time at the school, Connie was widely recognized by the profession as a pioneer in that role because of her ability to educate and connect some of the best architectural students in North America with some of the best architectural firms in the world. An experienced professional counselor, her intelligence, character, and energy served as an example to students, and actually to all of us. to students, faculty, and administration and staff. Notably, there's a broad consensus among professionals inside and beyond the School of Architecture that Connie's work in preparing our students for professional life has been the primary reason that our graduates are the #1 most hired alumni in the nation, according to last year's Design Intelligence Survey. In 2013, Connie received the Design Intelligence American Institute of Architects 30 Most Admired Educators Award. I think the first and only time a non-faculty person who's ever gotten that, for her leading edge efforts in career services. In particular, her annual architectural salary survey was unique at the time for its introduction and has been an essential tool for students, employers, and alumni, placing our graduates at a distinct advantage over other architecture programs and firms in an employment landscape that is often challenging to navigate. Assisting our students in finding employment in some of the best firms globally has the secondary effect of building lasting relationships between firms, the school, and the university. The link between the academy and the profession is one of the most distinctive features of our program, of our school, and it's one of the many features that attracts the best students to the School of Architecture at Syracuse University. Connie, you've earned the admiration, respect, and affection of students, alumni, staff, faculty, and employers, and I would like to offer you my sincere thanks for your extraordinary service, commitment to excellence, and entrepreneurial spirit. You have made a lasting impact on the life of the School of Architecture. Now I'd like to ask Associate Dean Julia Zerniak to join me and to bestow some more awards.
Well, good morning and congratulations to all of our students and their family and friends. I have the honor to present the School of Architecture Citations for Excellence in Thesis Design. Thesis is the culminating educational experience for all recipients of the Bachelor's and Master's of Architecture degree. It's undeniably the most invigorating time that's marked by both moments of clarity and crisis. A year-long process, students are empowered by their autonomy to imagine and envision an architectural project with the guidance of an advisory committee. Over the span of time doing thesis, students produce not only a project, they also begin to map the discipline of architecture and their place within it. At the end of this process, the entire School of Architecture faculty and staff evaluate the students' work, voting for those whom they believe to be premiated. Each year, the school hosts a Thesis Prize Awards jury event where faculty are joined by several invited jurors from the profession and other schools of architecture who are nationally and internationally well known for the creative and scholarly work. The Thesis Prize jury event is a day of enlightened discussions between the guests, our faculty, and the students. It's a wonderful event and a learning experience for all of us. At the end of the day, the projects are ranked by the faculty and jurors through a voting process to determine top prizes. We will now recognize the students who were selected to compete in this year's Thesis Prize jury. When your name is called, please come forward. Alexandra Allen and Scott Krabath. Oh, Scott. Sarah Bedoin. David Bullard and Carolina Hasbun Elias. Anif Chowdhury and Anuradha Desai. Olivia Humphrey. Sang-Ha Jung and Yung-Jun Yoon. Daniel Lee. Chia An Mike Leo and Raul Sarwani. Rose Malouf. There's no one for her. There's not one here. Goes to the next one.
Is there one just?
That is her. Oh, it is. Okay. Oh my God. Thank you. Nusrat Jahan Meme. Ian Mulick, and Jose Sanchez Cruzelegui. Apurva Rao. Ricardo Rodriguez Huerta. Ferey Sun. Rasan Tahir. Minglu Wei and Ying Chua. And finally, Marta Zenawi. So Dean Speaks will now be giving out the Dean's Citations for Excellence in Thesis Design.
Thank you. So we have 5 awards, 5 Special Dean Citations Awards. The first one goes to Amelia Gann. Apurva Rao. I need something else to give her. I'm going to give you this. Amelia only gets one of those awards. Third award is Ian Mulich and Jose Ricardo Sanchez Razlagu. Sorry, yeah. Fourth award goes to Ricardo Rodriguez Huerta. And the final Dean's citation goes to Minglu Wei and Ying Chuo. Okay, so for the final thesis awards, we give three of these. These are the James A. Britton Memorial Awards, the most prestigious thesis awards at the school. The James Britton graduated from the School of Architecture in 1928. These awards are made possible by an annual gift through a generous endowment by his son, Jack Britton. 3 awards are given out annually: a jury prize voted on by visiting critics, a faculty prize award voted on by members of the faculty, and the Best Thesis Prize Award for the top student project. This year's recipient for the jury prize is Faris Sun. This year's recipient for the faculty prize is Anaf Chowdhury and Anu Desai. And this year's recipient for the Best Thesis Pride Award is David Bullard and Carolina Hasbro. So give them all a round of applause. I'd now like to introduce our graduate program manager, Lauren Mentier. As we recognize the graduating class, Lauren will be announcing the candidates for the Master of Science Award in Architecture. Where is she? Yes.
Yahan Liu. Jiawei Jiang. Yi Zhang. Xiao Lin. Jingling Gu. Harshita Kataria. Evelina Velasqueta. Samar Badon. Ravan Karam. I'll now read the Masters of Architecture students. Yuki Jin. Dongshen Zhao. Sanat Dango. Nusrat Jahan Mim. Philip Claghorn. Akil Arun. Dallin Evans. Ji-Yoon Bae. Bharat Krishnan. Eric Sanchez. Natalie Brock. Katie Cobra. Jingshi Zhang. Ying Hong. Lena Wang. Xin Ga. Xiaoshu Shun. Audrey English.
Yeah, Audrey!
Laura Clark. Erin Lee Benkin. Stephanie Nicole Haller. Ife Lee. Xiaoxin Li. Lan Li. Yahan Shu. Zhenzhen Yang. Peilin Hu. Xihua Shen. Hua Nan. Hao Xiao. Klaus Chen Chui. We will now recognize the Bachelor of Architecture candidates. There are 3 distinctions in the Bachelors of Architecture: cum laude, a 3.2 GPA or higher; magna cum laude, a 3.5 GPA or higher; and summa cum laude, a 3.8 GPA or higher. Ethan Russell Benoit, magna cum laude. Congratulations. Caroline Danielle Barrick, magna cum laude. Sabrina Logroño, magna cum laude. Lee Wen Yuan Clarissa Jane. Kelly Chung. Anurada Desai, magna cum laude. Janice Comer. Benedict Ashlikowski, magna cum laude. Amelia Gan Wen Jun, cum laude. Brandon Zerzo, cum laude. Timothy Atanasio. Peter Majran. Madeline Ann LaBerge, cum laude. Virginia Lowry Polk, cum laude. Anita Karimu. Sarah Catherine Bedoin, magna cum laude. Abigail Betsy Campion. Olivia Slauson Bennett, cum laude. Spencer Gaffa, magna cum laude. Arzo Hakimi, cum laude. Christina Rubino. Evan Michael Webb. Ryan Okenhouse, magna cum laude. Ian Masters, cum laude. Juliet Domini, cum laude. Danya Lee, cum laude. Sung Ha Jung. Parker Whitmore. John Carino, cum laude. Paul Gibson. Marda Zenawi. Nevedita Keshri. Shreya Shrekya, cum laude. Michaela Beckwith, cum laude. Erin Lee Gutenplan, cum laude. Rose Malouf. Omar Khalifa, cum laude. Wilson Lee. C. Lu. Ran He, cum laude. Wang Sijo. Wei Xiao Lin, cum laude. Yang Liu. Dante Jordan Cosentino. Yong Jun Yoon, cum laude. Byong Leong Ed Lee. Jing Tsung Kim. Daniel Park. William Collins, cum laude. Adam Ferrari, cum laude. Holly Elaine Metzger. Jessica Casido Lopez, cum laude. Stephanie Cuevas Baez, cum laude. Sherry Wong, cum laude. Scott Michael Krabeth, magna cum laude. Alexandra Lee Allen, magna cum laude. Yuen Yuo Chung, cum laude. Doria Miller, cum laude. Feng Kevin Shu, cum laude. Ying Zhua, summa cum laude. Ming Lu Wei, magna cum laude. Ziyao Chong, magna cum laude. Nufan Shu, cum laude. Evelyn Brooks, magna cum laude. Chris Otera, cum laude. Catherine Truluk, cum laude. Noah Anderson, magna cum laude. Furi Sun, magna cum laude. Andrew Becker. Rex Hughes, magna cum laude. Tala Ayubi. Tara Nukul. George Ilias Bador. Carolina Hasbun Elias, magna cum laude. Renata Ramela Baez, cum laude. Shania Gurdhalal. Nupur Sanjay Sura. Dora Yokoi Lo, cum laude. Michaela Starr, cum laude. Megan Baker, magna cum laude. Apurva Rao, magna cum laude. Richard Kim, cum laude. John McKesh, cum laude. Jose Ricardo Sanchez Cruzalegui, magna cum laude. Ian Parker Mulick, magna cum laude. Wilson Slagle, cum laude. Ross Hansen, cum laude. Mike Liu Chia An, magna cum laude. Brooke Calhoun, magna cum laude. Kokeith Perry II, cum laude. Olivia Humphrey, cum laude. Raul Sadwani, magna cum laude. Rutuja Gonu. Elise Chelik, cum laude. Garrett Jones. Irving Shen, cum laude. Wei Bin Lau. Shaibei Zhao, magna cum laude. Kirsten Davis. David Philip Bullard, magna cum laude. Brian Herr. Rasan Tahir, cum laude. Anif Chowdhury, magna cum laude. Stephanie Wagner, magna cum laude. Ricardo Rodriguez Huerta, cum laude. Yuen Chuen Hu, magna cum laude. Mingja Chen Jet. Yan Liu, cum laude.
Okay, I want to thank the parents, family, friends, faculty, and staff. We'll have a reception immediately following this in Slocum Hall, so please, in the atrium, so please join us. I'd now like to officially present to you the School of Architecture class of 2019.